Let's just say you can only own 5 stocks in your ISA. What would they need to cover? It's not about picking 5 random companies, it's about what sectors they live in. Again, essential roles, and more importantly, diversification. You don't want to overcomplicate it too much. So you have consumer stability, financial income, energy infrastructure, defensive services, or international quality. That's it. 5 main roles you need. There's others for obvious reasons, but they're the obvious if you're picking just 5. So for consumer stability, my pick in my portfolio is Tesco. And this matters because people will use Tesco. I know it's expensive. I know there's a lot of bad press about the prices and stuff, and obviously tariffs and import export. I get it, right? But it's predictable. As I say, it's defensive. There's a decent cash flow model here, but it is the biggest supermarket in the UK. You realistically want something that people are going to use every single week, and that's the top and bottom of it. And these obviously going to be other alternatives to this, which I will go through in a second. But the idea of this video is to showcase my portfolio and what it does, the picks that I've got, and the alternatives that you can use. The reason being, I want to give you a framework, and this framework will hopefully help you in building some individual stocks alongside some ETFs. Obviously, research matters. Now, as you know, on my website, I'm building a tool, and it's called Your Investment Mate. And how it's designed, realistically, is it's not fully built yet. I'm still building. It's all available if you want to jump in as a member on the email side of it. It will become a paid thing eventually. And the idea is to pull data from the actual resources of the company. For example, Tesco, give you an idea. So that's giving you the idea of the highlights there, and it will pull data and information, not so much the data itself because it can be out of date, but what it is, why it matters, all the information that you need. So stuff like that is important when you do your research. So let's look at some alternatives. Not so much a supermarket, but probably Unilever, for example. Realistically, they are pretty well established. They're a massive company around the world as well. But the brands that you know and love, again, we talk about cash flow, we talk about, predictable market, it's there. The next obvious supermarket would be Sainsbury's. Again, you could argue it's expensive. I know, I get it, cost of living crisis, but people need to eat. And realistically, Sainsbury's is quite a good stock realistically out there. But long story short, when you look at diversification, you'll see on mine, I've got obviously funds in mine as well. But the reality is, you're going to be having consumer staples, which is basically what this is, as essentially your backbone. Let's go on to finance and the income engine, essentially, right? So these are normally higher yield, capital return policy, and obviously insurance. And it's a guaranteed cash flow because people need insurance, obviously pension situation. You get the idea. These again, you could argue backbone. This financial side of it is quite heavy in my portfolio because of the funds, and the FTSE 100 is kind of where I am certainly with the dividend stocks, essentially with the high UK dividend yield fund. There's a lot of financial companies in there, a lot of banks. Again, we talk about alternatives, pretty much banks and other insurance providers. But as you can imagine, we're talking about predictability. Share performance is okay, let's be honest, but they tend to have good dividend yields. They tend to have a good cash flow. They have a good model. And yeah, you can imagine it's quite an obvious pick realistically. Now, if you want the alternative, you'd probably go Admiral. Decent company again. It was a toss up between. I had both at one point. I got rid of one of them, but yeah, you get the idea. We can also cover banks here. HSBC, for example, Barclays, for example, these are essentially your income machines. Again, predictability with interest rates and obviously savings accounts, all that kind of stuff. They are going to make money, mortgages, etc. Likewise with insurance and other financial markets. You are going to make obvious kind of picks with those because the world needs them. Now, I know the energy and infrastructure, Drax. A lot of unhappy people with Drax because of certain pollution and situations. I get it. But ultimately, every company you pick will have some sort of red flag somewhere or some sort of history, certainly when it comes to the energy sector. Energy, policy driven malarkey, you've got a lot of dividends, you've got a lot of government bonds and contracts and sort of stimulus around that as well. There's a lot of things around this that could be very interesting. And as well, there's a lot of alternatives too. Drax for me was the obvious pick because it's got, I think, a very, very good hand in the government's pocket. It gets a lot of subsidies. So that's good for a short period of time. I think that ends in 2027, 2028 maybe. But It's been a top performing stock in and around the UK and obviously in America, which is where most of the political jargon is around potential poisoning and pollution. So do your research. But remember this, energy is going to be the backbone of any economy, any country. You've got to have the lights on, you've got to have your internet, right? For obvious reasons. The obvious alternative would be the national grid. It's decent. It's not fully for me. I was a holder of it, but the dividend growth is quite low. A lot of the stocks that I pick, by the way, just saying, are dividend growers, so they tend to kind of edge on that side of it. Most of them are in this sector. But you've then got obviously fuels. You've got BP, Shell, whatever. Quite obvious, but again, energy. If you want to go down the rabbit hole of other energy and sectors and stuff like that around obviously infrastructure, you've obviously got Greenco, which is heavy in the UK around wind power. It's okay, don't get me wrong, but ultimately not many people like to own stocks like this because you can argue it could be very cyclical or it could have an issue in terms of policy around the government if certain things happen around wind power. Now, defensive services, this is a more of an interesting one. Not everyone likes these sort of things, but for me, I think it's an obvious one. Outsourced contracts, you've got sticky revenue, let's be honest, and government contracts and exposure, as you can imagine. These are obvious for me, defensive services, right? If you're in hospitals, you're in and around certain government buildings, you will see companies like this. You've also got Serco, you got, I think, Compass as well. Makes sense. Contracted workers, big backbone to a lot of people's portfolios these days. And this is actually a decent stock, realistically, when you look at the numbers. So yeah, Mighty, kind of an obvious pick. Now, Serco is the alternative to this. A lot of you could argue a lot of messy stickiness around obviously, what these do as well. Obviously, you've got prison systems as well, governments, you get the idea, right? There's loads of stuff. But again, it's entirely up to you. And the final sector is somewhat a quality compounder, a big company that is going to be compounding your portfolio due to dividend growth. That helps. And the one I pick is Coca-Cola HBC, which has good solid dividend growth. It does have international exposure, it does have strong brand recognition, cash flow for obvious reasons, and you could argue to growth and a hybrid of income. There's other alternatives to this, which are a little bit dicey depending on how you look at it. You've got Relics, for example, which is international exposure on data analytics, and then you've got stuff like Games Workshop, Experian as example. The reason being, they're quality compound and they do have international brand recognition. For example, Warhammer with the likes of Game Workshop and stuff like that. And Relics is information-based analytics and decision-making tools for many different businesses around 40 different countries and different continents around the globe, which is pretty impressive. But as I say, this is the important bit, and I think you need to remember this. It's not about picking the 5 best stocks. It's about covering, as I say, the 5 essential roles. And when we talk about the likes of, or you can see it here, in terms of what I've got currently, you obviously got utilities, obviously got different namings, but consumer staples, yeah, utilities obviously will be, the obvious of, energy sectors. Communication services, yeah, financials, whatever. The thing is, too many people, I think, as well, and we see it with ETFs, that they go down the rabbit hole of having 3 or 4 of the same industry. There's no point. You're better off kind of spreading it out. There's always like a bullish run somewhere as well. So you're going to be careful with stocks with that situation. But this does not cover everyone's opinion, risk appetite, thought process around picking stocks. There's no small cap tilt here for obvious reasons. It isn't as well pure tech growth. These are just the 5 sectors that I really focus on. I have 5 and then I have a random rogue one which is called Smith's News, which has high yield, but I understand it, I know what the business is. And this will give you balance, hopefully long term, because if you've got a portfolio that is, as I say, very, very heavy in one, and there's a bit of a crisis, you could find yourself in a bit of strife. This is, and a lot of people do ask me, what is my portfolio split? Currently, that is it as it stands, mainly funds, and then you got a couple of the stocks overall. They're doing all right, they're doing fine. But as you can imagine, if you look at all those, they're all different. You've obviously got, as I say, Aviva, which is insurances. You've got contracts. This is about news agencies and stuff like that. Tesco, Drax, they're all different. That's what I mean. You need to have each one as an individual sector. If you want to do some research, by the way, feel free, jump in. There's a link on Snowball Analytics. It's better data than what I've got currently, but as you can imagine, it'll depend on you. If you want the information, the data, and all the kind of the gubbins, it's all here. You can have it all. It's quite nice and tidy. Certainly for dividends, it's pretty powerful. Obviously, the financials are all here. And the reason why I put BAE Systems here is because, well, it's obviously there's a lot of tension around war. BAE could be quite a good one. Cover your portfolio with structure and not hype. And if you haven't watched the ETF version of this, I suggest you give this a watch and a follow. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe and comment what your favorite stocks are.